Hi guys, welcome again. If you guys already know me, Jake Ray, Youth and Education Manager here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I first want to welcome you guys inside and out to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the most inspiring place on earth. We're along with you guys. Over 100 players and coaches from Northeast Ohio schools are going to be right here in Canton, Ohio, the birth of professional football, to discuss some really important topics and help kick off this year, second year, of the Build the Bridge program, started by Coach Hicks, Coach Creel, along with some others. Right here in Northeast Ohio, some local high school football coaches, and designed to create a willing coalition of coaches, players, parents, administration, and community members to foster success of student athletes throughout social, emotional, educational, and athletic advancement. This program is very near and dear to our hearts here at the Hall of Fame. We have a program here called Hall of America that is designed to encourage open dialogue and honest discussion around the Hall of Fame's mission, vision, and values, and it's designed to show how the game of football can bring everyone together, which is what Build the Bridge is exactly here to do, bring you guys closer together. No matter what school you go to, what streets you live on, all of those things don't matter when it comes to stepping on the football field, and Build the Bridge is here just to do that, off the field and bring you guys together. Our mission here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence everywhere. Our vision is it's not just the past, it's the future. It's not just about Canton, it's the world. It's not just a great museum for football, and you guys will see today. It's a pretty cool museum if you haven't been here before, but it's about a message of excellence everywhere. And then lastly, our 5 values are commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence. All of which, like I said, outside, these values, the game of football teaches, you'll learn them on the field. They're going to make you a better player, make you a better teammate, but most importantly, they're going to make you a better person. You're going to use these values in anything that you guys do outside or off the football field, whether it's you're in the classroom, you're at home with your family, you're on the road, whatever it might be, you're going to use these 5 values to help you become the best person that you can be. Something that I'm sure your coaches will tell you they use on and off the field, something we use here at the Hall of Fame, whether you're at your desk working with an event, these 5 values are super, super important. So we here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we say we're the guardians of the game of football. For not only our Hall of Famers, our gold jackets, but for every legend, college player, high school player, and even down to Pee Wee football player out there. That is enough from me. Turn things over to Coach Hicks and Coach Creel to get our discussion started today.
The first thing I want to ask is that don't sit like this. Sit around. Like the first thing we did when we came in here, we started talking to the coaches, regardless of regardless of the race. I went and gave Coach Martin a hug, talked to Coach Fox, talked to Coach Fritz. Interact. Switch your seats up. Sit with someone that you don't know. Go ahead. Okay. So.
Hold on, Coach. Hey, Mark, what on there? Yeah, straight with the hammer. Yeah.
He said thank you. Okay, that's better. So I'll just open by saying this. I want to make sure I say thank you to all the high school coaches that brought you guys out. The genesis of the Build the Bridge program came last year with the murders of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. And we saw a lot of stuff on social media about Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. They should have killed the cop. They should have, George Floyd deserved to die. And there was a lot of tension. And so we started to have conversations, and we were playing a game, and I won't say the opponent, but it's a very racially charged game. The word was used a lot during the game. And to that coach's credit, he said to me, he said, "What can we do?" And I said, "You've got to get these guys together." And I spoke with Coach Martin's thing. I said, if you know someone, you'll never treat them like crap. And I appreciate you bringing me out. If you know somebody, you will never, ever treat them badly. It doesn't matter what they look like. And that's where the genesis for this program came. And it's really only because of the gentleman behind you that it works. Because if you're here, that means your coach understands the whole concept of learning to be with people that you don't know. And so we've done a lot. We've done a DB clinic with Washington football team, DB Lyndon Stevens. We serve food at the men's and women's shelters downtown. We've had a Build the Bridge camp. And we're doing stuff with professional development with coaches and stuff. But for you young men here, the whole goal for you is to get to know someone that does not look like you. And I'm just going to finish with this. I'll let Coach Creel talk. My relationship, my oldest relationship of all the people in here goes back with that man right there. And I generally have a lot of love for that man right there, because we met at a football clinic when I was breaking into the game and watching, you know, these 170-pound linemen just plow through people. And I said, this is impressive. And I said, can we talk? And he said, yes. And we met at a Burger King and we talked about triple option. And it changed the trajectory of our program. We're a much better football program. And whenever I need something, I call him, we have conversation. And it's important. He gave me feedback from my daughter in a basketball game. And I just think that that's the important message in this, is that you've got to learn to, and I'll probably get emotional because it means that much to me, is that you've got to learn to be with people who don't look like you. Coach Fox and I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, but Coach Fox and I have had a lot of conversations. When we wanted to run inside zone, I went to Coach Fox and asked him questions. Coach Russ and I talk about defensive football all the time, and I say that because there are 2 white men and a black man, and that's why I honestly believe football is the greatest game on earth, because it puts you into contact with people that you generally don't know. I'm getting to know Coach Curtin and Coach Fritz. I definitely want to build a relationship because it's that important to me that you guys learn, because, and I'm sure you know, we live in a strange society, and you hear a lot of stuff. But when you know somebody, it's just really, really hard to treat someone that you know like crap. Like the special needs kid that's in the building, if you know that kid and you see someone messing with them, you're going to say something. Now I'll turn it over to you, Coach, if you want to say anything before we get started.
You're going to make me follow that, but I'll say this. I have issues sitting down and talking. I've had the opportunity to coach at white schools. I've had the opportunity to coach at inner city black schools, and right now I'm at an inner city school that's 1/3 white, 1/3 black, and 1/3 Hispanic. And I want you guys to realize that at some point, your lives in this game is going to be over. It's going to end. If it's on your terms, or if it's on terms that you don't have any control over. And the relationships you build, playing the game, if you have an opportunity, if you're blessed enough to play at the next level, the relationships you're going to grow. And what do I mean by that? Playing in college, I went home to a kid, Youngstown, Gerard. I don't know if anybody heard that school before. Gerard, Italian kid. Knew nothing about Italian. He was going to grow up in a community that was black people, mostly Jewish. And so when I went to this particular household, Mom cooked. Mom and Dad cooked. It's about 2 of us that went home on Friday night, watched his high school play, and we ate. And they went to the game. Well, Mom made pepperoni rolls. Never had them before in my life. And it was like the most tastiest food ever when we had it. And an experience like that, I remember getting, that was over 20 years ago, gentlemen. I know I look like I'm 35, but I'm turning 45 here a day or so, but understand the relationships that you're building are long lasting. And just to go through the room, I coached against Coach Martin for the longest. Coach Fox in Ordonia, we played and met through flag football, competed against each other in flag football. Same with Coach Ross, who played at the highest level. Coach Fritz, I got a chance to know, and our relationship is growing because now I'm in Lorraine County and he has his first opportunity to be a head coach. So, you know, hearing that in the video, that huddle was right. You know, a lot of teams know huddle now, but there are times when you still need a huddle. And I'm pretty sure, coming watching Ordonia play, I know you guys know huddle. Before you guys take the field, I'm pretty sure you guys huddle up to get that first initial play, and then disperse you out. Same thing with us compared to huddle. So the huddle, as much as we want to get rid of it, is so important. is so important. And in the world, realistically, the world right now is telling you that this can't happen. With the politics, with Black Lives Matter, with Blue Lives Matter. And I'm going to tell you this last story, and then I'll let Coach Hicks continue with the presentation. I coached at Beechwood last year, and my team was 85% black in a black community. And my kids, white and black, my captains, I had 2 white captains and I had 2 black captains. They came to me before the season started and said, Coach, you want to take me? And I said, why do you want to take me? And they explained to me why they want to take me. I said, I'll support you, and I'll take you with you. Our first home game, we played Crestwood, and we took a knee. Game was on a Friday night. That night, actually not that night, we went through the game, everything was fine, we ended up winning, it was a great victory for us. Saturday night, at around 11:45, there was a car that pulled up in my driveway and stayed there 20 minutes. And it was about 11:45 or 12 midnight. And my kids, I have a 13-year-old daughter at the time, and I have a 7-year-old, 6-year-old son at the time, came to my room and said, Daddy, there's somebody in the driveway. And we were in bed. So I go downstairs, look through the window, I peek through, and there's just a truck sitting in my driveway. Stayed there 20 minutes, had to call the police. So if you think this stuff is not real, if you're talking about being in great communities like a Macedonia or Beechwood, so to speak, that's where I live right now. It still happens. That stuff happens. And I never thought moving my family to Beechwood, I would have to contend or deal with issues like that. And it's real life, and I get reminded of it all the time. So hopefully that story lets you know that things like that do happen. And no matter where you're at, where you live at. That just happened last year. So Coach, I'll give it back to you.
So one thing that I want to kind of make sure we talk about is just, for you to get to know someone, you have to look beyond stereotypes. And I'll give you a perfect example. When I talked to Coach Martin and Coach DeLuca about triple option, they were gracious, shared a lot of good information. And then we had certain people say, "You sure you guys can run triple option?" I said, "What's that supposed to mean?" And they had to they backed it up real quick, with the insinuation that our black kids could not be a triple option football team, and stereotypes running all facets. And I shared this story last year. And I look at somebody like you, like as a wide receiver, I watch you, man. You're for real. And I had a white wide receiver at Eastlake named Sean Richter. Sean went 89 catches, 1,300 yards, and 19 touchdowns. And Sean was asking me, he said, "Coach, why are people not recruiting me?" And I had a couple of conversations with the college coaches. They said, "Well, Coach, I just don't think he can stretch the field." I said, "Come on, man, let's just shoot straight." Because everyone here knows. I mean, there are only a couple people who shoot more straight than me. This guy right here, I know you shoot straight, but I had to make him say it. "Well, Coach," I said, "Say it." I said, "I want you to say it." So, Coach, I said, "Say it." He said, "Well, we generally don't scholarship X wide receivers that are white." I said, "Oh, God." I said, "Okay." And that's what I'm trying to explain to you, that this stuff hits on all levels. And that's one thing I want to make sure everybody understands, is that there are microaggressions that come for you being white as well. And that bothered me, because I'll send you his huddle link. I mean, the dude was a killer. And he could have played at any school. At the time, Coach Creel was over at Glenville, where Glenville had 15 Division I guys. He could have started for Glenville. He was that good. But people looked at what he looked like and made assumptions. Like we have a white kid on our basketball team, and as soon as he comes on the court, they all yell "shooter." So he can shoot because he's white. And I said, I know a lot of white dudes that can't shoot, just like I know a lot of black dudes that can't shoot. And those are kind of things that I think really mess with the fabric of what we're of what we're trying to do, is that you look at someone and you think certain things because of what you see. And I'll just give you a perfect example. Like when we went to the triple option, our offensive line, we play in D1 Region 1. Everyone knows that. Our starting offensive line the first year we went to the triple option was 5'7", 200, 5'9", 200. You know, it was tiny. And people would come in the warm, they would laugh. And I just thought about you when I saw your offensive line. I said, you know, but I watched them pummel people. But you can look at someone, and I'm taking race out of it right now. You can look at it. Tell me you haven't looked at someone inside them and thought they were sorry. Raise your hand if you've done that before. If everybody here doesn't raise their hand, I mean, come on. You never did that? I'm about to say, you better put your hand up. So you've sized someone up based on what they look like. How many of you have been wrong? Right. We've all been wrong. Coaches included. We've looked at kids and said, those pads come on. We're like, And so, and that's the thing. And I think that's the perfect correlation for football, is that looks will always deceive you. And the proof is always in the pudding and what you put on the field. And so, you know, I guess my thing is I'm a classroom teacher. I think everyone here is a classroom teacher, so you guys are in trouble because I'm very creative in the way that I get kids to participate. What are some of the struggles that you go through being a white man that lives in Cuyahoga Heights? If you have no struggles in your life, man, you got it good.
Yeah, none that I can think of really.
You have no struggles.
To be honest with you, no.
Okay, well, good for you. I'll share a struggle of. No, I won't share a struggle. What do you want people to know about you and your program? Tell me about your head coach.
He's a really good head coach. He pushes you. He loves everybody, really. And can you ask the first part of that question again? I don't remember what you said.
Tell me about your head coach. Tell me about your program. Tell us about what should we know about Cuyahoga Heights?
We are a winning program. We have been for a while now. The coaching staff is great at our school. I don't care what you look like, any of that. They'll throw you out there. If you're short, small, big, strong, anything. I don't even know what else to say.
Well, and I think that's part of the reason why I've got you here, because one thing that you gentlemen have to learn, that we don't have your challenge. It's this thing right here. Turn my camera off. This thing right here is more addictive than drugs. And that's part of the reason why I did that, because you gentlemen have to learn how to have communication and have to learn how to talk. And I'll get people. How have you been stereotyped? I'll get to you. See, it works every time. I look in the direction and someone starts talking. So now you get to go first.
All right, I'm done.
First of all, tell us your name.
My name's Harrison. Check.
See, I like him. He has personality.
Yeah, if I'm talking too much, just say something. But like, I want to say like two things. You said something about like the N-word earlier, and it's all about like how you say it and like what you're aiming to like do. If you're just trying to bring someone else down by saying it, you're just a douchebag. And if you're just being a racist asshole, you just don't listen to that douche, you know? Why would you? You know, he's just trying to bring someone else down.
He's a straight shooter. I like this guy.
And the other thing is like, skin doesn't really have anything to do with you. It's just like what you got in your heart. And a football team, whichever one has like the stronger beating heart is the one that will win all day.
Tell me about one of your black teammates.
My man BUS, he's a dog. Mark Wilson, he a dog. Hendo, he a dog.
They're all
Tell
dogs.
me about their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we be beating on the same. Hope that continues to happen throughout the whole season.
I like this guy. Pastor Mike. It works every time. Tell us about one of your teammates.
White or black?
It's up to you.
There's
there's no difference with our teammates, whether they're white or black. We all have the same heart, we all have the same goal, we all want to win. And we'll go through whatever obstacle that is to win.
Raise your hand if you've been in a game and you've heard someone use a racial slur. Now, keep your hand up if you corrected the person. Okay, that's okay. What does this mean? Tell us.
I didn't correct it. I just met it with more aggression, which kind of less considered.
You made it with more. Tell us your name.
John? Yeah.
It was directed to you.
I mean, yeah.
And you reacted.
Yeah, I reacted.
How was your reaction?
Not the best at the moment. It was more like just pure aggression. Not even like, I didn't even take a second to think. We were running back to the huddle. It was like, we were running back to the sideline. I turned around, said something. I heard it, and I looked at him. I said something back to him, which I should have just corrected it the first time. But it kind of went on throughout the game, and I never really corrected it, like for real. So.
Real quick, how many black players in here have been called on the field player in the competition? Been called it. How many white players in here maybe have heard someone call one of your teammates?
How many white players have had racial slurs thrown at them? How many now? How many of your black teammates heard it? And so, and that's my point, because he raised his hand, because it goes both ways. Go ahead, Coach.
I don't know though, because what define what racial slur is?
A white person.
Whatever they want to use. I mean, I've heard all kinds of stuff. Just like a lot of white folks won't.
Okay, that's religious. That makes sense.
I've heard cracker before.
What's that?
Cracker before.
Because that's an interesting one to me, because I think a lot about this stuff. And when you read everything about white privilege, I think that's one of the big things is, I don't know if there's anything you can call me a white, brown-haired, Catholic, suburban kid that I would even like have an emotional reaction to. You know what I mean? I think that is one of the big power differences in this whole conversation. And you used a word earlier, young men. He used the word microaggression. Are you familiar with that word? How many are? How many are not? Be honest.
We'll explain.
Okay.
Go ahead, Coach.
But even some of the readings I've been trying to do more and more in the last year, I've heard one of the bigger microaggressions they say is if you say, "Oh, I don't see color," that's actually a microaggression. In this, like even I hear you say, "Hey, we're all the same heartbeat, so we're all the same." And I think it's important that, I don't know, I teach and coach at Nordonia High School, which is, I believe it's 17% black in our student population. We've been about 30% black on our football team over the years. That you don't ignore it, you value it, you acknowledge, hey, and you're allowed to describe human beings. Hey, Brian's black and Cooper's white. Like, that's nothing racist. And then you get into the N-word and how loaded that is and a long history of why that is such a charged emotional thing. There is a difference there, and that's why I wanted to call it out, and I'm sorry I'm not questioning it, but I think there is. That's why there's such a difference in this conversation, because saying the N-word at someone, and I'm curious, I'm hearing you say that, John, and I've been coaching you, you've been a 3-year starter for us now, and I don't know this game, I never knew of that. And it's interesting to me that how it's being said from opponents, and you guys here, we're 40 yards away on the sideline, we may not know what's going on to vouch for you or have this conversation. So it's interesting to me, and that's where this conversation is. I don't know, as a 38-year-old right here listening to all this, even you guys that I've known for years, and I've been naive. I went to a small, private little Catholic elementary school and quickly became friends with the one black kid in class, and because of that, I think I'm not racist or whatever, but I've been totally naive to what that kid growing up in Willoughby and Menor, Ohio went through, and our kids that are in a school where they're hey, there's enough black kids in Nordonia, there's no problem, but I'm totally and been totally naive to the experience they have as a minority. And what you guys are talking about, you guys just said as a white guy, done. But I don't know if there's anything you could say to me in a football or a basketball game in my career that would make me even have an emotional reaction. Yet the N-word is so charged. And I don't know, there's a difference. I don't know if I'm phrasing a question, but and where we want to go to that from the kids' perspective. But I think there is a difference there, and why we as the white guys have to acknowledge a difference and know, I think there is a difference, and we got to police how things are said. And what Harrison said there's, go ahead, Harry.
I was going to say there's a difference between like a little baby dropping an N-word and spitting bars and like someone just trying to say it to bring someone else down. It's allowing you to I didn't.
Hey, did we define microaggression for it? I know Coach, you said you wanted to do that.
So a microaggression, and anyone can step in, is when you make a statement, and it's actually a really loaded racist statement. Like, one of the worst things you can say to a team you can say to a black coach after the game, Coach, your team is so well behaved. Team is so disciplined. And so he's shaking his head because he's heard it before. Like, I'm 100% sure Coach Martin, people don't go say, your team is so well disciplined. Did they ever say that to you?
It's probably happened, not a lot, but it's probably happened at some point.
And they've said that to us so many times. Like, we've played teams, and they're like, Coach, your team is so well disciplined. And Mac, you all have to know Mac. Mac is like 6'3", 270, super dark skinned and bald, and like he has, and unfortunately he has to watch the way he approaches things because, and this is a conversation, and Coach Russ understands, and there's certain stereotypes with being a dark skinned black man, and so you don't want to be known as the angry black man. And so some of the things that are said to Coach Stevens in the game, he just kind of like, he says, thanks, Coach, and keeps it moving. But that's a microaggression. Like, what? I've seen undisciplined teams of all colors. But when you say it to a black team, it's with the understanding that you're not expected to be disciplined. Or when you, I'll use basketball as an example. They're so, you'll see a white team, they're a bunch of shooters. It blows it's so aggravating to me, because when you assume because you're white, you're a shooter. Or because you're white, you can't run. Like, they're not real fast. I heard a coach at the clinic, it was horrible. He said, yeah, this team was full of a bunch of athletes, and they're showing team versus black. Like white kids can't be athletes. Like, anyone that knows the quarterback we had here at Cleveland Heights 2 years ago, Bay Harvey, that dude was a white dude, and that dude was phenomenal. And he had like 30 touchdowns. And he was phenomenal. And so those are microaggressions when you sit there and you make a statement that's extremely stereotypical. Like, the white team can't run. Because I can tell you, we have some very slow black kids on our team. And it's just what it is, because speed is not assigned to you by race, nor is intelligence. And so those are things that are microaggressions. What did they say to you?
It was in a basketball game. We were playing Can everybody hear me here? I feel like I don't need to talk about this. We were playing an all-white basketball team.
You're recording. That's fine.
We were playing an all-white basketball team in like my sophomore year. And a white kid said the N-word to me, which, even though it doesn't affect me directly, like, the rest of my teammates are black, so it hit me in like almost like a halfway, because it's like I'm saying it to people that I sweat with every day. Love.
On our football team at Heights, we have one white kid, Owen Bisker. And we were playing one game, and the things they said to him, I couldn't believe it. I said, God, we were playing a black team. And and he's the dive back in our triple option. So he's at the center of everything, every single play. And so the things they're saying to him, you can hear them. Because at that time I was calling the plays on the field. I said, golly, I'm not going to even repeat what was said, because it was grotesque. But I think that it's important to understand that, microaggressions and racism and ignorance, it comes in all different shapes and forms, which is why it's very important when you hear something like that. Like, if your teammates heard that, you have a moral responsibility to correct because that's your brother, because you bleed the green and gold. And there has to be a certain level of empathy, because like Coach Fox said, he doesn't understand what it's like to be treated like that, but everyone here understands what it's like to be made to feel like crap. And so that would be a challenge that I would issue to everybody in here, is that when you hear something, address it, because that becomes real man talk. I teach in Painesville, and Painesville now is like 50% Mexican. And one of the parents said to me, what's it like teaching all those Mexicans? I said, okay, we're gonna put the brakes on this. I said, these are my students, so you're gonna need to chill out. That's easy when you don't know the person. But when you have a relationship with them and they start to talk crazy, that's when your manhood is tested. And I'm telling you right now, you're gonna go to college and you're gonna hear some crazy stuff, because you're gonna get with people who come from communities. Like one of our kids, like at Heights is very diverse, but one of our kids, he went to Tufts. And we told him, I said, listen, man, you're dealing with a different type of kid there, man. Tufts costs $80,000 a year. So you're gonna be with some very elite, rich people. And he said, Coach, the conversations I heard at the lunch table, I was ready to fight. I said, exactly. I said, so you have a moral responsibility to correct when it's not right. And that's no matter who it is. So when someone said something to him, the best part is his teammates should have corrected it and said, you don't talk to people like that. And I think that's a critical part of why we're here is that word love. Because like I said, when you know somebody, go ahead, take it.
I was gonna say, I have a question for you. You know, you played in the league. You've seen the epitome. You've been in the locker room. How does the conversations we're having right here today, how does that translate to an NFL locker room? Because, you know, me, when I was in high school, you think, you know, that's the best of the best. That's it's just walking in there. It's like walking into heaven. You know, it's perfect. But did you see any of this when it came to, you know, you were in the league in that locker room?
To answer your question, no, you don't see that. It's a business, and everybody treats it as a professional business. So you didn't really have the vision as far as race. Everybody's about their business, doing their job, trying to get paid, trying to prolong the career. So you didn't have these things right here. Now, I can't speak about today's game, you know, because I played 20 years ago, you know. But when I played, no, we didn't have that. But I wanted to go ahead and address, this is some good conversation, but in order to make an effect change, we have to find a result and understand the why. And I don't think we're hitting on the why. I hear what everybody is saying, but if we need to walk out that door and be better than the person who we was when we walked in this door, we need to acknowledge, okay, why are we dealing with what we're dealing with? Why are we going through what we're going through? And I think that's the problem with America right now, because we don't want to have that tough conversation. We don't want to go ahead and get to the root of it. The problem with us today, people in general, we put Band-Aids on things that need to be stitched up. You put a Band-Aid on it, it holds for a minute. But in a week or two, it's going to bust again because we didn't properly take care of that wound. So hey, let's get, if we gonna talk, let's talk. You know,
then go ahead, say.
Like,
I want to hear.
For example, I talk with some of my colleagues at my school, and I say, do you guys understand what Black Lives Matter mean? Can anybody here tell me, what do Black Lives Matter mean? What do it stand for? Anybody? Because I always hear that will say, well, blue lives matter too, white lives matter too. So my question is, what do Black Lives Matter mean?
It means that we black people don't want to be killed for no reason anymore.
Okay, he's on the right track. Anybody else?
I told you, you're a room full of educators. It's not.
Well, let me.
Systemic racism, white privilege, our lives matter as much as the next person.
There we go. That's it. Now, to sum it up, Black Lives Matter mean all lives matter too. Black Lives Matter is not saying white lives don't matter, blue lives don't matter. What Black Lives Matter means is our lives matter too. And the key word is two. That's the key word. Two. Our lives matter too. And until we acknowledge that, there will never be change. Until we acknowledge that our lives do not matter right now. We're not saying what your lives don't matter. Your life is good. Blue life is good. But our lives matter too. That's the biggest misconception. We're talking about the middle of the league. Colin Kaepernick. Drive me crazy. I had a person. I'm a dummy. Me and that conversation, I said, it drives me crazy when I have a whole department is trying to defend, well, Colin Kaepernick, he's wrong for taking the lead, everybody's wrong for taking the lead, taking the lead's wrong and everything. And so I'm responsible for that whole department. And our principal, I said, when you use YouTube, if Krill asks you, do we look like green apples? What you gonna say?
Yeah, why not? If you like them.
No, hold on. Do you like green apples?
I don't know, do you?
That's my point, you don't know. So when we ask you like green apples, you gotta say you don't know. I ain't told you.
Right.
But if I tell Krill that I like green apples, and Krill asks you, do I like green apples, then what you gonna say?
Yeah.
Right, why?
Because you know.
Because I told you. So it drives me crazy when I hear people say, why Colin Kaepernick's kneeling. He has told you why he's there. It's funny because my older son, his godfather, he's white. He's white. You had an inner city black kid because the inner city had this white man who took me under his wing, that saw something that I didn't see in myself. That I said, you know what? The best I can do to pay you back, would you mind being my son's godfather? He accepted. So we all have to acknowledge what's going on in the world. Let's not hide from it. It is what it is. It is what it is. But Lord, can we talk about it? Can we have a heated discussion? I would say argument, a heated discussion, and get on the same page and understand. Let me understand your view. Let me understand your view. Understand my view. Whether we agree with it or not and everything. But you know what though? We got people to discuss it. We got to start having these conversations which we don't want to have.
But go ahead, Coach Martin. As he's getting the mic, and I agree, you have to have tough conversation, especially when you hear stuff that ain't right. You have to be willing to address it. On the football field, on a football field, you blow a coverage. Does your coach say something? Exactly. You mess up assignment. They say something, right? But you watch one of your friends say some really ill stuff, and you don't correct it. If you don't correct it in the game, you lose. You don't correct it in life, you lose. Go ahead, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. What I really love about this is the importance of building relationships at early ages, because it's tough to have real conversations with people you don't know. It's so much easier with your wife, your brother, your friend. I say a lot of things to Luke I don't say to other players, because I have a relationship with him and we keep it real. You know, and it's when you don't know someone well enough, when you don't get to know people, I've said things that Kahari talked about before. I went up to, when Lance was at Garfield, and they came out to our camp. And I said it to him. I go, man, your kids they're so disciplined. You're such great kids. They work so hard. And he was offended by it. And I had no idea. You know, it wasn't meant to be offensive. It was just an observation. I was around his kids for 3 straight days, and that's what came out of my mouth. But he was offended by it. And it took me aback the first time, you know, when it happened. But if you don't establish relationships with people and get to know them and are able to say those things to each other, you're not going to learn, you're not going to grow. This isn't going to get any better. So that's why I like the fact that this organization is trying to get young kids to see a little bit differently than people who grew up in my generation saw it.
Okay, we're going to end it right there. This is a great ending to this. I urge coaches, players, and there was a comment I wanted to get back to that I didn't get back to because of something you said. and that's the N-word, which is a whole nother
We got a
conversation.
little more to say.
Hold on, we gotta go because we gotta have this session happen with 3 other teammates. And I'll find you. And I'll tell you what I wanna say, okay? We appreciate it. I urge you to have these conversations, gentlemen, as we continue.
And talk to someone that you don't know. That's only works if you do that. Find someone that you don't know that doesn't go to your school and build the relationship so you can have the conversation. Thank you guys, appreciate it.